World Entrepreneurship Day has been coined to celebrate innovation and empowerment of entrepreneurship and leadership throughout the world. Entrepreneurship is vital not just for job creation, but very essential and integral part of our economic growth and problem solving. Taking this note, PCT's Pimpri Chinchwad College of Engineering, in association with Center of Innovation, Incubation and Linkages Forum and Institution Innovation Council, along with Applied Science and Humanities Department, invites you to this session, a sharp eye to spot a problem.
Before starting with session, I, Hardik Jain, takes this opportunity to welcome PCCOE Director Dr. G.N. Kulkarni, guest speaker Mr. Suryakant Katti sir, Dean R&I CEO of CIIL and IIC President Dr. S.S. Lakde sir, IIC Coordinator Ms. Angha Chaudhari, HOD of AS&H Department Dr. S.S. Sonar, R&I Coordinators Mr. M.B. Kadam and Dr. Sheikh Sazia. And finally, I welcome our lovely audience. Now I would like to invite Dr. Lakde sir to say a few words on this event.
Good, good evening, all. This is a very good opportunity for all of you to learn about entrepreneurship. And the major thing in entrepreneurship is to identify the product. And the product will be based on the problem. And the problems, how to identify a problem is a very, very important task for any of the opportunity wherein Mr. S.M. Katti sir, he is the founder of Business Excellence Solution, a good friend of mine for last almost 35 years, and he will tell you about how to spot the real problem for your product, and this is going to help you on this day, on this occasion, the World Entrepreneurs Day occasion. I'm going to tell you that you have to think about starting your own enterprises. The future is for entrepreneurs. You can think of filing your patents because under PCCOE CIIL, Center for Innovation, Incubation and Linkages Forum, it is very essential that every student should think about intellectual property rights, should think about uh, the problem solving for the pain areas of different thrust areas of our nation for building our nation to self-reliant India. And with this small note, I welcome Mr. Suryakant Katti for this particular session and hand over the session to the coordinators. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Moving to the most important part, I, Apurva Pardeshi, take it as a pleasure to introduce you all to our speaker, Mr. Suryakant Katti, sir, founder of Business Excellence Solutions. Sir has completed his BE in Mechanical Engineering from Karnataka University, followed by Advanced Diploma in Computer Software and Applications, Bombay Technical Board, and MBA Operations from IGNOU. Mr. Katti sir has great working experience and has conducted several workshops for engineers and executives in different industrial area units at Kutch, Nagda, Egypt, Thailand, Indonesia, India, etc. Mr. Katti sir has been certified as Innovation Specialist from SERAX. He has also received Kota Gold Medal Award for initiating sustainable improvement projects. So has developed a new innovative concept called P2P, Problem to Prosperity. Without wasting further more time, I hand over the session to Mr. Katti sir.
Please turn on the
Sir,
mic.
you are mute.
Yeah, am I audible now?
Yes, yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Please go on.
So, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Thanks, Dr. Lakde, for briefly introducing me and inviting me for this entrepreneur, program to speak something about which is interesting for the students. And thanks, Apurva and Hardik, for welcoming me. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, this is the era of entrepreneur and lot of startups. The students in the colleges are thinking about startup. It's a very special time in the history of India that most of the colleges are coming out with innovative startups. Now, for any startup or for any entrepreneur, why an entrepreneur who is successful is different as compared to the others? Because somehow he has developed a sharp eye to spot a problem. I would like to share with you a very interesting story. When I had joined during my younger days in Bajaj Auto during 1986, and during our training, one of the speaker was talking about how the entrepreneurs are different. You see, the Bata company, this Bata company, which is a shoe company, and they wanted to expand their business in the developing countries like Ghana, South Africa, that region. And they sent two executives, sales executives, to go there and study how the people are wearing the shoes and what is the opportunity for the business development. So these are the two executives who went there, and they stayed there for a couple of days, and they were closely observing the people in the region like Ghana and South Africa. One of the gentlemen, although he was very good in as a salesman in India, he thought that when he saw most of the people, they are not wearing any chappals or shoes. So he decided that he made up his mind that nobody wears a shoes or chappal here. What's the point in spending the time here? I would better go to some other country where people need the shoes and chappals. So he told another friend that, well, my friend, look, I'm not going to spend time here because nobody wears the shoes and chappal. I'm decided to go back to India. Another friend who was an entrepreneur, and he just looked at it and he thought that, okay, nobody wears the shoes or chappals in this country, and there is so much of an opportunity. If I could somehow convince few people the advantage of having the shoes and comfort of wearing the chappals, probably I would be able to convert few of them, and it might transform to many of the people. So he stayed back and put all his effort to convince the people why they should wear the shoes or chappal. And in few days he was very successful in convincing the people, and he made a big headway in the Ghana and South Africa. The other friend went back and communicated to the board that I went there, but I didn't find any opportunity to expand the business because nobody wears the chappal and shoes. And after a month or 2 months time, the another friend returned, and here he came with so much of business opportunity. He said there is a huge potential because nobody wears shoes and chappal. I have tried to convert few other people, and now it is set like a wildfire. Everybody is understanding the importance of wearing the shoes and chappal, and probably the Bata model, the Bata company, the brand would be soon spread across this Ghana. And he predicted the future, that there could be huge potential in the future, and he became very successful. He was awarded by the Bata company. Now the situation is same, resources are same, the time is same, the place is same, but one has an eye to spot a business opportunity, another has set his eyes close, and he turned back. So friends, this is a very interesting story to learn that most of us have equal opportunities, equal resources, the same time, but few people become very successful and few people just keep watching what is happening. An entrepreneur has a sharp eye to focus the problem, and he would try to convert that problem into startup or a project. In India we have lots of stories like this, who as an entrepreneur they have identified a problem and they try to convert this problem into an opportunity, a prosperity, a fortune. Look at the way how the Ola, Uber, and the uh, Oyo hotels have come in India. One small gentleman, a boy who was fond of traveling to many places in India, and when he used to travel, he noticed that in many places there are no affordable hotels for the young boy like him, a traveler. And he could find this as an opportunity that if I convert some of the already existing hotels who are not doing so well, but if I convert them into Oyo hotel, probably this could be a very good business. And the same gentleman made a startup without having to invest much in the beginning, and he made a huge brand in India, and he also expanded to China. This is an entrepreneur. So, friends, the situation for most of us, the time, the resources, the place, everything is same. But the entrepreneur has got antarprerana. Interestingly, entrepreneur, this word is very synonymous to Sanskrit word. It's called as antarprerana. In Sanskrit, it is called as antarprerana. Prerna. That means the inspiration from within. It appears that the entrepreneur world has come from this Sanskrit word, antarprerana, inspiration from within. So, friends, this is the time that we need to study and we need to look at, or we need to develop that antarprerana, what our heart and mind says from within. And to develop it further, we need to master the skill of spotting a problem. Most of us, when we see the problem in our life, we accept them as a problem. We treat that this is the way that life is. So we tend to accept the problem. But few of us has a sharp eye. When they notice a problem, they start thinking about how I can solve this problem or how I can help the people to solve this problem. And they become the entrepreneurs. So in the history, if you see all the great entrepreneurs, they have started with a small thing in their garages or with a small piece of land, and they have become the big businessman. So they have got this strong antarprerana from within. So friends, let me now share with you some of the interesting things like what could be the problem. Can you see the presentation on the screen? Hello, can anybody respond?
Yes, sir.
Can you see the on the screen?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
So this is what is the problems to prosperity. There was one lady in South Africa, and he belongs to a small village, and this village was separated by a huge river between the two between this village and a nearby city. So all the people from this village used to go to the city to earn their livelihood. Okay, so this lady was belonging to this place. But the problem with this village was that during the rainy season, that they used to cross the river and go to the city, and they used to do some work there, get their money, and come back. That is how they used to live their life. But during June, July, August, September, 4 or 5 months, this village, that river is to develop a kind of grass which is called as hyacinth. The hyacinth is a special grass which was grown into that river, and it was so strong that the entire river used to get covered with this hyacinth. And when this hyacinth is grown into 3 to 4 months time, the entire river is to get blocked, so that people were not able to cross with the boat the river. They were not able to do the fishing. So this 4 month was very difficult time for them. And this lady who was belonging to this village, a young lady who had gone to America, she was working for some company. And when quite often she used to come to her native, but she was always troubled with this problem that my village people are not able to go to the city during this rainy season because of this hyacinth, and that river, that it completely blocks the river. And after 2 3 years she was thinking that I must do something. One day she came to her village, during her vacation. And as an entrepreneur, she started thinking about how to solve this problem, how to increase the wealth of my country, how can I increase the satisfaction to my people living in my uh, village. And one day she went to that riverside and took some sample of the hyacinth, and she did the testing on herself, that what this hyacinth could be used for. Interestingly, she could find that this hyacinth is a very good fibrous plant, and it's a very strong fiber. Suddenly an idea came to her mind: if I could use this plant converting into fiber, and if I make the ropes or the threads out of this, probably I could create some value added products. And during that vacation, she took the samples of this hyacinth, she dried it, went to America, and there she conducted some trials that this hyacinth is a very useful product to make the ropes, to make the articles, some of the gift articles like that. And again, next year she came back to her village. She collected a group of people and she asked them to collect this hyacinth in big quantity. With whatever little money she set up one small workshop kind of thing where certain tools were brought, and this hyacinth, the people she taught them how to make the rope out of it. When the ropes were made, she also taught them how to make certain articles like pots, the frames, the cots, the bed, etc. And the people became very skilled, and she launched her company on the website, you know and she started selling her products, branding them, and the rest is the history. The whole world, particularly the developing countries like America, they got attracted, and she got the huge orders from the developing country for this. And she engaged all her village people into small workshops to make this kind of rope using the same hyacinth from the river. Now imagine when the government saw this, they could find that there is a huge potential. This hyacinth factory was developed at our village, and they started producing different articles and supplying to the whole world. It not only improved the livelihood of the people, but it solved the problem of the river blocking for boats. Friends, The problem was the same. There were she could find this pain, and this pain was a problem, and the poverty was a problem, and she could identify possibilities. So this possibility is converted into a value, a wealth, and a satisfaction. And this is what the antarprerna is. Entrepreneurs generally identify the pain, problems, poverty, and possibilities and transform them into prosperity. Okay. So how to develop this eye for problems? Let's look into what are the various types of problem. Many times there are some problems that we don't think that these problems need a solution until there is one. These sorts of invisible issues make a life a little more stressful, a little more awkward. So once someone comes up with a new way to solve them, you wonder, why didn't I think of this before? From buying a avocados, a fruit, to banking pen libraries, there have been some ingenious fixes to problems you never knew existed, isn't it? Who knew before that Ola and Uber coming to the market, the taxis, the rickshaws were already existing, but the Ola and Uber came in a new avatar that could solve most of the pain areas, problems of the general public who are taking the taxis and rickshaws. Many innovators have patented their work for having solved a particular problem. Many businesses have created a huge wealth by converting a problem into prosperity. So let's look into following situation as to how a problem turned out to be a gateway for innovation. Now, I have just tried to list these problems and different types of problems. Based on the characteristics of the problem and the nature of the solution, problems can be identified as six types. So there are six types of problem. If as an entrepreneur or entrepreneur closely identifies and looks into this six types of problem, probably he will have some entrepreneur to spot a startup or to spot a business. So these are called as inventive problem. So I have branded this inventive problem as VIPs, very important problems. Inventive problem. Second one is problems with hidden diamond, PWD. Latent problems, LTTs. Covered problems, Kovid. Contradicting problem, CBI. Problems with accidental solution, IAS. So let's try to look into these problems. What is inventive problem? If a problem persists for a long time and there are no known solution found yet from the respective fields, then that problem is called as an inventive problem. For example, the bicycle saddle continuously carries the same awkward shape for years. It is uncomfortable, yet it continues. Solving this problem with a better, comfortable bicycle seat can be a fortune. The solutions for such problems have come from altogether different fields. The cycle must have been invented almost more than 100 years, but the saddle or the seat is the same all the time. Every one of us has an experience that this seat is very awkward to drive for long ride, but still it is existing. Why? Because nobody has noticed this as a problem. And if somebody could identify this as a problem and comes out with an innovative idea, that becomes a startup, that becomes an innovation, that becomes a patented work. And these are called as inventive problem. And most of the time, the solution for this problem may not come from the cycle industry, but it might come from the different industries altogether. So people have found that there is no known solution in the bicycle industry for this problem. So that's why we are living with this problem, which are called as inventive problems. Now, what are these PWD? Problems with hidden diamond. If there is a problem concerned with environment, safety, etc., because of certain materials, chemicals, minerals, and if these materials are converted into something beneficial for others, then these problems have come as a blessing in disguise. For example, the coal-based power plants were generating huge quantity of fly ash, which was dumped near factory site. The fly ash creates dust, pollution, and occupies huge space. But the cement manufacturers noticed that the fly ash has a beneficial contents like magnesia, calcium, etc., which can be used in the production of cements. As a result of using fly ash in cement production, the cement companies created a wealth from this waste. Somebody noticed that the fly ash is a problem. And when they went back, studied closely what this fly ash contains, it contains very similar contents like cement. So why it cannot be mixed with cement? And when they did it, it was a history in the cement industry. Cement industry got a huge benefit, you know. So this is called as problems with hidden diamonds. And another very interesting example is in Titicurion in South India, there is a factory which has taken lead in the race to capture the carbon dioxide emitted from the coal powder boilers and use it to make baking powder. So there are three IIT engineers from Bombay. They went to Tuticorin and they studied closely, how this carbon emitting chimney, which is a problem, can be converted into something useful. So they are the chemical engineers. They designed a catalytical converter. What this catalytical converter does is it converts this carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide into soda ash, baking powder. So from the chimney, what it emits is huge quantity of soda ash. 60,000 tons of soda ash is produced from the waste generated from the chimney. Now, these three gentlemen from Bombay IIT, they have been invited by the British government, to do a similar work at London. So this is an eye for spotting a problem, converting harmful into benefits. Another very interesting case study, Mr. Anirudh Sharma, an Oxford University in MIT graduate from America, he developed a device that can be fitted into the exhaust pipe of a car or portable generator, and they collected the soot that forms from burning diesel fuel. By mixing the fine black powder with solvents, they produce the ink, which can be filled into the bottles and marketed. After finishing his master's degree from MIT, Mr. Anirudh Sharma went back to India in 2016 and co-founded a collaborative lab called as Gravisky Lab to continue working on air ink and other ideas. Now, his company is a very popular company in China, Singapore, and India. It is producing the air ink, ink from the pollution. You can see in the picture, there are some artists who use the ink to draw some portraits or some sketches on the wall. So he has supplied his ink to all such people, and they have created a beautiful art on the wall. And this, you can see that this art is painted with air pollution. So we have been seeing, all of us are seeing this problem, but one entrepreneur has a sharp eye to convert this problem into prosperity. Similarly, look at all these opportunities. A huge quantity of plastic bottles, which is a nuisance. It has become a social issue. If you go to the riverside, So many rivers are flooded with these empty plastic bottles. Okay, can we do something about it? Cormac, a company who converted their car body, they made a car body from this waste bottles. Diesel from thrown away tires, ethanol from sugarcane molasses. There is a company in USA which is now Fortune 500 company. What they are doing is they are collecting all the junk cars, the accidental cars, the old cars which are otherwise problems for the people to keep. They occupy the space. So this company has developed a technology to scrape the paint. They remove the paint, they separate all the articles, and they recover the steel from the body of the car, and they supply back the same steel to the car companies. So Nucor, a Fortune 500 company, which makes steel from 9 million junk cars in USA. This is entrepreneur. Now, third type of problem is latent problem. These are the problems nobody noticed them as a problem until and some innovator comes out with an inventive solution. Then the mass starts feeling them as a problem. For example, in the absence of ATM machines earlier, going to bank, collecting tokens, standing in a queue for withdrawing cash was considered to be a normal. But when the ATMs were discovered, now many people feel that going to bank itself is a big problem. This problem was existing before, but it was latent. So these are LTTs. For example, Travelpro is one of the company which introduced first time the wheels on the luggage. The roller board was actually a great solution for airline pilots. So airline pilots have to run, they have to rush in the airport to their cabin, and if they have to carry such a big luggage, it's a problem, it's a nuisance, it's pain. But this travel pro company introduced a strong wheels to such bags, and these bags were introduced for the pilots. It is now a standard equipment for millions of passengers all over the world. Today nobody carries a big suitcase on their head. Every suitcase has got the rolling wheels, which is a radical innovation which completely set new expectations about the luggage. Why would anyone want to haul a heavy suitcase when he could simply roll it? The idea did not require any breakthrough, just putting few wheels on the luggage, isn't it? Fourth one is covered problem. Most of the time the solution lies in the problem. These are the problems for which the solution exists within the problem. Most of the times, the problem is solved with the problem objects themselves without bringing a new object into it. For example, the gravity is a problem for dropping the parts from the conveyor. Can the gravity be used for separating out good and bad parts? Similarly, you see this COVID, the virus, which has created a pain for the whole country or whole universe today. Now, the solution for COVID is there in the blood itself. The placenta, or the COVID affected patient, the blood, if it is taken, and vaccine can be developed from the same blood. So, the solution lies in the problem. So bicycle, what do you do with the bicycle when it gets old and battered? Or if it is your child's bike, when she outgrows its size? No prizes, really, for guessing. Most likely, you get it off your hands by selling it as a scrap. But look at the entrepreneur. One entrepreneur, Andy Gregg, a founder of Michigan US based design and manufacturing studio, he created a bike furniture design. And be creative, he has created so many bicycles into furnitures. Can you see this? All these furnitures are from the waste battered bicycle. Google's floating data center. The internet runs on the huge complexes of hot, power-hungry servers that eat up real estate and energy in massive quantities. According to a patent filed by Google, wind turbines and wave-powered generators will provide the electricity to their data centers, which consume huge energy. Ocean water will cool the server, which throws off huge amount of heat. The offshore real estate is essentially free. What Google has done is they have created a pipeline boat like this, and they have kept the server into this pipeline. So they don't have to buy the real estate, for keeping the server. They are floating them on the ocean. The ocean not only cools, but it also generates power for these servers. So this is the time innovation of Google in 2008. Look at this, a very interesting innovation. This is Kovid. A solution lies in the problem itself. Now, this was a factory which was producing the medicine pills, and the pills, they were produced from the hopper, just as shown here. The pills used to fall flat on the small conveyor, and then they were transferred to the big conveyor. The problem is, because of the mechanical handling, some of the pills used to get damaged at the edges, and these damaged pills were not supposed to be sent to the customer. So the company has employed few inspectors online. They used to physically inspect these pills, and if there is one which is damaged, they used to pick it up and throw it into the trash. This was okay as far as when the production was slow, but when they have to increase the production, the inspectors could not find them. So the bad pills were going to the customer. Now the company wanted to solve this problem. Many of the people suggested that they should employ a camera which would take the continuously pictures, and if there is any damaged pill, the camera should have an ejector which should eject the damaged pill. Well, this was a good idea, but it costs money and performance of the camera. So the director asked the people to find out something better. And one interesting entrepreneur found a very innovative idea for this. What he did was he just changed the orientation of the pills. He just changed the angle of the small conveyor. So pill used to fall flat earlier. Now it is falling vertical and rolling on the conveyor. If there is any damaged pill, okay, that the gap between the first conveyor and the second conveyor is so adjusted that if the pill is damaged, then the velocity at which it moves will not be sufficient to jump to the next conveyor. By gravity, it was pulled down into the trash. So automatically, the bad pills are separated from the good one. No investment. The gravity is used as the resource for separating the good and bad pills. Okay, this is what the solution lies in the problem. So look at this. If you want to create a brand, the how this Disneyland have modified everything look like Mickey shape. They have created a Mickey shape water tank. They have created a Mickey shape window for the train. They have created in the garden Mickey shape pumpkins. You know, power from the brake pedal. BMW now have developed an efficient dynamics where when we apply the brake, a lot of kinetic energy is converted into heat energy. So they have developed a dynamo which fits into the wheel. Whenever you apply a brake, that kinetic energy is converted into power and it is stored into the battery. Okay, so this is new innovation. Similarly, in Britain, nightclub, a lot of people are dancing on the floor, and entire night this floor has to be lighted with a power. But somebody, an entrepreneur, found a solution that if they put the springs and piezoelectric blocks beneath the ground, when the people dance, that energy is converted into power. So you don't have to spend on the separately on the electricity. Electricity can be generated. More number of people are dancing, more power is generated, and more light. These are all Covids. The solution lies in the problem. Bayer makes anti-cancer vaccines from tobacco. Tobacco is considered to be bad, but can tobacco be used for creating a cancer vaccines? Bayer is successful in this. The solution lies in the problem. Scientists have now discovered that the AIDS virus could prevent the cancer. You see, solution from the problem. Fifth one is contradicting problems. These are the problems where if we improve some parameter, the other parameter gets worsened, creating a seesaw. For example, if the sharpness of the shaving blade is improved, it might cut the skin, apart from cutting the hair. When such problems are solved without compromising, these are called as contradicting problems and the innovation. Okay, so there are many such solutions. Probably you can see this contradicting. The ladder, for example, the ladder when uh, when we need it, we need a longer ladder. But after the work is done, the ladder is sitting occupying the space. So it's a contradiction. I want a ladder, but I don't want this to occupy the space. So somebody has an entrepreneur I, he solved this problem from by making this ladder a collapsible ladder. When you don't need it, you can just compress it and keep it in the small space. So similarly, all these are interesting examples about the contradiction. Sixth one is problems with accidental solution, IAS. These are the latent problems or contradicting problems which have been solved by an accidental solution. For example, innovation of X-rays, digital cameras by Sony. Once time, the Kodak company was doing very well in the film cameras. They never thought that the competition would come from an unknown source. Sony was making the TVs, they're never into cameras, but they wanted to make a small TV, but their innovation failed. But they used that failed innovation to make it as a camera, and rest is the history. Kodak company never thought that Sony would make a digital camera. And when the digital camera came, all the film camera like Canon and many companies just they were closed. Similarly, post-aid sticks, 3M company, which was trying to make a strong adhesive for joining the cement blocks, but their innovation got failed. They use that failed innovation to use that adhesive to create the posted sticks. So here either the problem or the solution found accidentally. These are called as problems with accidental solution. So friends, these are some of the thought processes as to how to develop an eye to spot a problem. An entrepreneur who has developed the skill of spotting a problem, he will get an entrepreneur, and he can use that problem to start his startups, to come out with innovative idea, to patent his concept, and to make a lot of business out of it. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, we can take one or two questions from the audience. Anybody? Any questions from the participants? Any comments? Yes, please. Okay, friends, if you don't have any questions, so thank you very much for being with me. Thank you for this opportunity. Hopefully, we will connect once again in the future whenever we have an opportunity. Thank you, Apurva, and thank you, Hardik, for a wonderful introduction.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. It was a wonderful session and it was really informative. I thank Director Dr. Kulkarni sir, Mr. Katti sir, HOD ma'am Dr. Sona ma'am for their valued time. I also thank Dr. Lakde sir and Miss Angha ma'am for their organization of this session. Also, I would like to mention R&I coordinators Dr. Kadam sir and Dr. Shaikh ma'am for their help. A special thank to student coordinators Suraj Jha and Shreyash Mogaveera for proper management of the event, Kshitij Wani for publicity of the event, and also my co-anchor Apurva Pardeshi for handling the event with me. I definitely thank the audience for being a part of the session.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great time ahead.
So, anything on the chat box? Okay. So, thank you very much. Thank you. See you once again.
Thank you, sir. Students, please fill the feedback form as it will be always also conducted as the attendance for the event. Thank you.